Another important aspect of setting up Fabber for your first use is setting up your bits. And to get to the bit setup, you can go to getfabber.com and just hit the link here for the app. Or you can just bookmark fabber.app. However you'd like to do it is fine. You may be prompted to log in if you're not already. And once you are, you're going to be presented with kind of the main screen of Fabber's app. And these are all of the projects that you have uploaded. And so what you're going to want to do to set up a bit is click on Workshop. And in Workshop, just like the machine setup, you'll see the machines here on your left. And then on your right, you're going to see your library of bits. Now, this is my test account, so I've got a whole bunch of bits in here and a whole bunch of machines. If you have a brand new account, you may at this point only see one machine, because you should have watched the previous video on setting up a machine. And you may see no bits in your My Bits area, but you might see some of these public bits that are down here. So if you're cutting jobs, you are welcome to use the public bits, but chances are you're going to want to set up a bit for the bits that you own and use on a regular basis. So to do that, we are going to start with a brand new bit. We're going to call this our 3/8. Actually, we'll make this a 1/2 inch bit. And give it whatever name you want. I always like to start with the diameter of the bit so it's easy to find. And click OK. And that's going to bring you to this screen. And you're going to want to get the information, the specs and geometry of your bit and put them all in here. So this is the diameter of the part that does the cutting. So in this case, that's going to be 1/2 inch. We'll say the shaft diameter on this bit is also 1/2 inch. And by the way, if you prefer to input these fields in metric, you can just do this drop down here and you can switch to centimeters, millimeters, meters if you have a bit that big. And you can switch those whenever you want. And when you switch them, it will do the math for you and switch them back and forth. But we'll leave this at inches for now. The cutting edge length, so this is the length of the bit that can do the cutting. We'll say 1 inch, and we'll say overall this bit is 2 inches tall. So pretty simple there. Now, when you are running a job in Fabber, you pick your machine and then you pick the material that you're cutting on, and then Fabber will suggest bits that it thinks can work with the job. And so what you want to do is with each bit that you have in your shop, you could have different cutting strategies for different materials. And this makes a lot of sense, right? If you have an up spiral bit, you may use it very differently in soft pine than you would in epay or aluminum or something else. So you can have those different setups. So we'll do a couple of these here so you can see how that works. So let's say that you want to set this one up for Baltic birch. So we can start typing in Baltic birch, like this. And I already have a Baltic birch bit, so Fabber is going to recognize that I have it in there and will suggest that I use Baltic birch. I'm going to put in a chip load here, which you can get from your bit manufacturer. If you don't have the chip load, it's okay. You can just put in 0 here for right now. So the cutting speed, this is the minimum speed that you would cut Baltic birch, and then you're going to want to put in the maximum speed. So I'm going to say I'd never want to move slower than 120 inches per minute. And the fastest that I'm ever going to want to go is 250 inches per minute with this bit. And if you do prefer to put these in a different unit of measure, you can switch that here. Now, the reason that you put the minimum and maximum in is this. So let's say you are using a machine who's set up to have a maximum cutting speed of 300 inches per minute. Well, if you select this bit, Fabber is going to say, great, we know that we can go at the maximum speed of this bit because the machine is capable of doing 300 inches per minute, and the maximum this bit can do is 250. So Fabber will run this bit at 250 inches per minute. If you used this bit on a machine whose maximum speed is 150, Fabber is going to look at this bit and say, well, the minimum is 120. This machine can operate at 150. So we're going to run this bit at 150. Fabber is always going to try to get as close to the maximum speed of the bit without going too fast for your machine. And of course, if your machine is only capable of moving 100 inches per minute, it's not going to allow you to pick this bit or this bit in this material because the machine can't meet the minimum speed that is required for this bit. Now, the next option is pass depth multiplier. So if you set this at a value of 1, each pass through your material will be equal to the diameter of the bit. And so what that means is that setting this to 1 means that each pass on this 1/2-inch bit will be 1/2 inch deep. If I set this to 0.5, that means each pass will be half of the diameter of the bit. So each pass in this case on this bit will be 0.25 inches. This also works the other way. So if I were to change this to 2, that is going to make the pass depth double the diameter of the bit. So in this case, it will cut 1 inch per pass and not 1/2 inch per pass. So for right now, we're going to leave this at 1, and we're going to set the spindle speed that we want to be cutting through our Baltic birch material. So I'm going to say 15,000. And when you're done, this is critical, hit plus, and that will save that material combo to this bit in here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another material. So let's say we're going to cut epay, something really, really hard. I'll put a chip load here of 1, and epay, since it's a very, very hard wood, maybe I want to cut slower. So we'll say the minimum cutting speed is going to be 60 and the maximum is only going to be 125. I'm going to cut much less aggressively with this, so I'm going to make a pass depth multiplier of 0.5. And I'm going to spin my spindle a bit faster, and we're going to say 18,000. And so when I'm done, I'm going to hit plus. And now these two materials are associated with this bit. So I can click save, and now that bit will become a part of my library. And now when you go to a job in Fabber, so if I pick epay here, I will now have this 1/2 inch bit available for me to cut out these parts. So that's how it works. You can enter as many bits as you'd like and as many materials. Pro tip, if you cut a job with a bit and material combo, and let's say you decide you wanted to cut that a little faster or a little slower, very easy. You can edit these at any time. So you can go back to my workshop, find that bit. You can just change the speed or the feed or the pass depth or whatever you want, add a new material, however you'd like to do it. You can update those at any time. This can be great for keeping track of how you use your bits on particular materials or in a shared shop space where you have either employees or a shared maker space or shared machine. You know, you can update your speeds and feeds here as you learn new things. So that's what you need to know to set up a bit in Fabber. Good luck and happy fabricating.